Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the cheat sheet edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and I am here to help all of you get some quick news and notes, catch you up to date with some of the stuff we weren't able to cover in our Steelers versus Ravens pregame show that just aired yesterday. A happy New Year. New Year's Eve to everyone out there who may be watching or listening wherever you may be. The 10-5 Baltimore Ravens now hosting the 7-8 Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So this game was moved. Make sure you update your calendars. Make sure you update all of your information for where you're going to watch this game. If you got some rabbit ears on your television, you should be able to catch this nationally on the broadcast on NBC's Sunday Night Football, no matter where you may be. Additionally, this is streaming on NBC's service Peacock, as well as NFL Plus, which is usually limited just to mobile devices, so just keep that in mind. Mike Tirico with the play-by-play, Chris Collinsworth with your analysis, if you may call it that, and Melissa Stark with the sideline call. Of course, I'll just jump right into this since I started already. 8:20 kickoff, January 1st, M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It seats about 71,000 people with a natural grass surface. If you're interested in listening to this game on satellite radio, the Steelers call on Sirius 81, XM 226, and on the internet 826. The Ravens calls are on 85, 225, and 802. And of course, national broadcast covered by Westwood One. That'll be on Sirius XM NFL Radio. That is channel 88 across all of their platforms. The Steelers call, of course, Bill Hillgrove and Craig Wolfley with Missy Matthews and Max Starks as your sideline reporters. Lan Clark is your referee for this game. So there's no fancy map or anything to show any of you for this particular game, because you could pretty much watch this one anywhere. Hopefully, I always see the people, where could I watch this game, blah, blah, blah. It would have been a lot harder had they not flexed this one out. So again, update your calendars. You get to do some stuff during the day for a change. And for most of you, hopefully you could stay up and watch the full game. That always is of a concern, especially when you're sitting here and watching some of these games that are going on in college football right now. That's like, hey, am I going to be up too late? I know all of you out there probably, if you're starting to get in my age bracket or more, there's the jokes that go out that you need to take a nap in order to stay up for the ball to drop for New Year's Eve. So Ryan Radke and Mike Golick are your Westwood One announcers, by the way. Ended up missing that one. Just jumping into the statistics, the Steelers lead the all-time series with the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see, 32-25. Of course, the Ravens won in their last matchup just several weeks ago on December 11th. The Steelers lead when they play at Heinz/Acrisure Stadium. That is 19-12. The series is tied in Baltimore, 13-all. That last game last year went to overtime on still January 9th of 2022. Of course, we're going to be into 2023 when this one kicks off Sunday evening. The Steelers lead the all-time playoff series 3-1. And Steelers have actually won 4 of the last 5 games. They were on a 4-game win streak over the previous 2 seasons up until that last game that was just played in Pittsburgh at the beginning of December. Steelers led by head coach Mike Tomlin, 161, 93, and 2 in 16 seasons with the Steelers. John Harbaugh in 15 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, 147 and 92. Equally successful head coaches. They have lots to say about one another. Mike Tomlin is 16 and 15 all time against the Ravens. Well, John Harbaugh is 14 and 15. So, of course, Mike Tomlin facing the Brian Billick version of those Ravens early on in his career. Both of these teams going to be kind of interesting now. Kenny Pickett out of the concussion protocol. He will get the start as Lamar Jackson officially, as we kind of surmised and speculated on the pregame show. Lamar Jackson will miss his 4th straight game, officially ruled out. And as we take a look at the entire injury report, going across between both teams, starting with the Steelers. Miles Jack is the only player with a real game designation. Larry Ogunjobi was just upgraded and appears he will play. Does say he is questionable. Trey Norwood officially out, but Trey Norwood more of a bit player, special teams type guy, of course. So we'll see if Miles Jack, limited in practice this week with a groin injury, will be a go. If not, just the usual suspects, right? Devin Bush and Robert Spillane will be in their place. Lamar Jackson, as I had mentioned, officially out. That's the one that really sticks out here. But no one had tend to mention Marcus Peters, one of the starting corners for this Baltimore Ravens defense. Also ruled out for this game. Calais Campbell is questionable. He was only able to practice in a limited capacity on Friday. But defensive lineman, a little bit different than playing as a corner. You got a questionable designation on Geno Stone, who is a free safety backup, and then reserve Nick Boyle, although he is more kind of like a blocking tight end. He gets some of his licks in there, even though Isaiah Likely's been getting some playing time. Of course, they have Mark Andrews, but Nick Boyle is also questionable, but that is due to illness. So we'll see if more than likely he will be out there if he feels up to it, even with limited practice. He's a veteran player. Otherwise, most of the other names that showed up on this injury report are kind of a moot point to bring up at this time. So you're basically looking at Miles Jack on one side and Trey Norwood being out. Larry Ogunjobi more than likely going to play. And of course, Lamar Jackson missing his fourth game. Marcus Peters is out with Calais Campbell, Geno Stone, and Nick Boyle questionable for the Ravens. The Steel on the Steelers side, let's see here. This is a 35 flat points over under. If you're taking a look at the Vegas lines and sports books, especially if you're over in Ohio like I am, the sports books go live January 1st. They've just been pushing everything from Barstool to DraftKings to everything else, right? So the sports books will be live in Ohio officially at the stroke of midnight. If you want to get your money on this game, Ravens are getting are a minus 2.5 points. So Steelers are getting 2.5 on the road. That is usually did I mix that up? Ravens are minus 2.5. Anyways, they're the favorite at home, as they should be. And 35 is your over under. Very, 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 very low scoring affair expected as the Steelers roll into Baltimore with Kenny Pickett as their leader on the offense, passing for over 2,000 yards. He is now has 5 touchdown passes on the season, 75.6 quarterback rating thus far. 5 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions. Of course, don't have anything. I could probably pull it up, though, if we want to take a look at Tyler Huntley's numbers for the season, because Lamar Jackson's the leader, so that kind of throws everything off. But 61 of 91 for 67% completed, 528 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks so far for Huntley. And his reserve, once again, will be Anthony Brown, who saw some action in the previous game between these two teams. Third string quarterback, this type of stuff ends up happening. Let's see. Leading the teams in receiving, Deontay Johnson on one side, 82 receptions, 809 yards. Mark Andrews with the opponent, 64 receptions, 747 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson also led the Ravens in rushing. So you got to go all the way down the roster to see who else may be in this. J.K. Dobbins, though, has come on. He's appeared in 7 games thus far this season, 427 yards. Kenyon Drake, 422. Gus Edwards, 415. So they're all in the same kind of middle of the pack. But this team really relied on Lamar's feet as part of kind of the gadget to what makes this offense click. And it hasn't clicked so much as of recent, where the Baltimore Ravens are... do the quick math, but they have scored 13, 27, 10, 16, 3, and 17 points over their last 6 games. That is an average of 13.8, and that's going to be somewhere near the bottom of the league currently. Whereas if you're going to do this on the Steelers side of the ball, they've been in some low-scoring affairs as well, but they started the bye week with 20, 30, 24, 19, and then 14 against Baltimore, 24 against Carolina, and 13 last week, including that last game-winning drive against the Las Vegas Raiders. So in those 7 games, they're averaging about 20.5 points per game. Pat Kerwin on NFL radio always likes to say you can't have half points, so it is what it is. It's basically what 23-24 versus 14 points. We'll see how that ends up working out if the Steelers could get any offense going as opposed to the last time these teams fought each other. The Ravens are 5-2 at home this year. The away record, however, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and even 4-4, they've actually been worse at home this season. Only 3-4 record. They're 8-7 record versus the spread, and Baltimore is 6-8-1. So you can't necessarily take the Vegas numbers at face value. Currently, overall, though, offensively, you're looking at, for the whole scope of the season, the Steelers are 29th in points scored per game. When you're taking before bye week, that's at 17.6, and the Ravens were 21.4. So you can see the differences where both of these teams have changed. The script has flipped since the bye week. Points allowed, Baltimore has only allowed 18.1, the Steelers 21.3. That's good for 13th, but Baltimore is third in the league. They're third in takeaway differential to the Steelers, 11th. Baltimore and Pittsburgh both kind of lacking in pass defense and pass offense. Pass offense, the Steelers are 24th, the Ravens are 28th. The Steelers are 18th on the ground to the Ravens being second in the league, averaging 166 yards per game. Against the pass, the Steelers are 23rd and the Ravens are 24th, but against the run, they are ranked 6th and 3rd, respectively. Further going down some of the list here, Alex Highsmith is your leader for the Pittsburgh Steelers with 12 sacks. Justin Houston has 9 to lead the Baltimore Ravens. Micah Fitzpatrick has 5 INTs to Marlon Humphrey's 4. And the Steelers are +2 in that take and giveaway giveaway category, but the Ravens a little bit better, +8, being able to take away the ball, and they were able to do so with Mitch Trubisky coming in for Kenny Pickett in that last game between the two teams. Chris Boswell and Justin Tucker considered among two of the best in the league. Justin Tucker probably considered the best. Boswell, a little rough last week. He's been 15 of 22 on field goals this season. Justin Tucker has been far from perfect himself, 32 of 38. Boswell has made all 15 of his point after attempts. Justin Tucker has had twice as many attempts, 30, and has actually missed 1 this season, which is very uncanny of him. Kenny Pickett completed 26 of 39 attempts for 244 yards, touchdown and interception last week. And he has only thrown the interceptions that he did last week. He's had none in 5 of the other past 6 starts. He leads all rookies, of course. He's about the only one that's really been playing. I know Malik Willis almost had that opportunity and had it snatched from him. Desmond Ridder, a couple other guys getting in, Brock Purdy. So he leads, though, all the rookies with 2,041 passing yards this season. He joined Ben Roethlisberger, who had 2,621 in 2004, as the only Steelers rookies ever with 2,000-plus pass yards. Najee Harris had 95 scrimmage yards last week. He looks for his 3rd in a row with at least 85 yards, all-purpose yards on the ground. He will be complemented, of course, by Jaylen Warren. You're looking at Deontay Johnson. Well, I should also say, too, he will be Najee Harris is also the second Pittsburgh player ever joining Le'Veon Bell with 1,000-plus scrimmage yards in each of their first 2 seasons in the National Football League. Pretty interesting when you consider that they have some Hall of Famers. Of course, Jerome Bettis didn't get to play as a rookie with the Steelers, but just interesting to put that out there. George Pickens ranks 3rd among rookies with 700 receiving yards this season. Deontay Johnson is looking for his 6th game in a row with at least 5 catches and 5th in a row with 60-plus receiving yards. He has 5-plus catches in each of the 16 road games since the 2021 season. Pat Freiermuth led the team with 7 catches for 66 receiving yards in Week 16. He had a receiving touchdown in the Week 14 meeting. He has 7-plus catches and 55-plus receiving yards in 2 of 3 career games, playing in primetime on Sunday Night Football. Alex Highsmith's looking for his 3rd game in a row with a sack. He's tied for the NFL lead with 5 forced fumbles in 2022. It's almost criminal that he is not a full-blown Pro Bowler and just an alternate, as you could say the same for grown-ass man Cam Hayward. Season best, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks last week against the Raiders. He's looking for his third in a row with a sack and a sack and a half plus. So he has at least 1.5 sacks. Looking for his third in a row. He has a sack in 3 of his past 4 games against the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens clinched their postseason berth for the 4th time in the past 5 seasons. And they will be led by Tyler Huntley, who had his first touchdown pass of the season last week. Gus Edwards led the team with the season-high 99 rush yards last week. He's looking for his 4th in a row with at least 55. J.K. Dobbins rushed for 59 yards last week. He's looking for the same as 4th in a row with 55-plus rushing yards. So they're using a 1-2 punch when you're taking a look at the Baltimore Ravens in their run game. J.K. Dobbins, of course, been banged up, had that horrific knee injury to start last year and is still trying to come back from that. Tight end Mark Andrews, of course, always a weapon on this team. He had 50-plus receiving yards in 2 of the past 3 at home. He's looking for his 3rd in a row on Sunday Night Football with a touchdown catch. He's 3rd amongst tight ends with 747 receiving yards this season. Demarcus Robinson had his 2nd receiving touchdown of the season last week. He had 5-plus catches in each of the 3 of the past 4 games, 5 catches for 52 yards when these two teams met in week 14. Roquan Smith led the team with 15 tackles and 1 of those for a loss last week. He's looking for his 5th in a row with a tackle for loss and 3rd in a row with 11-plus tackles. Tackling machine since joining the Baltimore Ravens in that trade with the Chicago Bears. He has a sack in each of his two career games against the Steelers. Patrick Queen, his counterpart, had 9 tackles and a half sack, pass deflected, and a fumble recovery last week. He's looking for his 8th game in a row this season with 5-plus tackles and 3rd in a row with at least a half sack or more. Justin Houston has 13 tackles for loss and 7.5 sacks in his past 7 games on Sunday Night Football. And of course, Marlon Humphrey, who could forget? You cannot not go mentioning this game without mentioning Marlon Humphrey. He had 7 tackles and a 13th career forced fumble last week. Very physical player. He's 4th most amongst active DBs with the forced fumble category. He aims for a 6th in a row with 6-plus tackles. And he shows up on Sunday Night Football, usually gets at least a pass defense. He's had 2 of them in at least the last 3 games on Sunday Night Football. Folks, I think that just about covers all of the bases that I've got for you. We could always go through some of the more minutia, as Mike Tomlin would mention. Baltimore Ravens last week won 17-19 against Atlanta. And, of course, the Steelers won 13-10 against the Raiders. You can't really look at common opponents and say, oh, well, hey, they did this or they did that. It's very difficult to do something like that. These two teams, they really play each other tooth and nail. A lot of times it'll come right down to these guys, the kickers, Tucker and Boswell. Should be a little bit better weather over in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm taking a look at that forecast right now, but it's nothing like the frigid temperatures that were in Pittsburgh and swept a lot of the Midwest and East Coast last week. Taking a look at the forecast. Let's see here. Looking at about 59 with a low of 44, maybe a 10% chance of rain throughout the day. So playing surface should be good. Guys are all going to be in short sleeves. I mean, it's going to be pretty toasty. I wish I would have been able to do that instead of having my beer slush that I got to drink as it froze at the 9-degree weather kicking off on Christmas Eve night. But hey, you don't get to pick them. One last thing that we will throw up on here for everyone to see. This is the scenarios for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have to win each of their last 2 games in this season, so this is a huge one for them. Of course, the Ravens would love nothing more than to sweep them this year and officially knock them out of the postseason race. It is a tight chance here because if the Dolphins do defeat the New England Patriots before this game even kicks off for Sunday Night Football, it's all said and done. So you got to be Patriots and Seahawks fans this weekend. Got to hope that the Seahawks beat the Jets and the Patriots beat the Dolphins the following week, of course. Then you got to do the inverse and root for the Jets because the Dolphins need to lose both of these games, and then the Bills must beat the Patriots for the Steelers to slide into the postseason. Of course, anything could have gone differently, including this game against the Ravens, the first one that they had a few weeks ago, and maybe this would have made life a little bit easier for Pittsburgh. But I digress. Nothing you can do about it now. all you could do is do what Steelers could just handle their own business and do what they need to do to stay in control of their own destiny. We had said many times before in the off season, tongue-tied here, wanted to say preseason, not necessarily off season, but we said 10 wins might have been enough to win this division. You're looking at Cincinnati at 11-4, Baltimore's 10-5. 10 wins would have been enough to make the postseason. Steelers at best could finish with 9 wins and maybe still make it. We said that was maybe a possibility, but 10 would have secured it for sure. Lo and behold, here you are, and they're going to maybe come up a day short. A day late and a dollar short is the way it goes. I can't talk. That's my sign to just say thank you for watching, listening wherever you may be. Thank you for supporting Steel City Underground. Happy New Year. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and wherever you are. We encourage everyone out there. Seriously, you can get an Uber, you can get a Lyft. Might be a little pricey, but it's a lot pricier than the alternative if you're out there partying for your New Year's. We encourage everyone out there to be safe. Be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.